Hey, Ryan KRUESI Originals back at you again. Today we are going to go over a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm working on this 2016 Road Glide. It has a hydraulic clutch in it that totally failed all the way around. So I'm going to rebuild a master cylinder and we're going to put in a Recluse easy pull slave cylinder. But in order to do that, I ran into a few problems and we got to source some parts, and that's a long story, but here we go. It's my intro. It was fast, it was furious. I had this thing apart. The lever was completely froze. You couldn't pull the clutch in at all in this thing, which usually a slave cylinder is bound up, which it was, which is this little guy right here. This would not go in and out. I pulled the seals out of it right now, so she goes in and out pretty well, but it was seized up really, really bad. So I was like, well, we'll just put in a new one. So replacing that with a Recluse. Oh, I take that back. This is a Mueller, even better. Which, honestly, didn't know that Mueller made hydraulic easy pulls. We run Mueller easy pulls in every single one of our bikes, our stunt bikes, everything. It's like 30 over clutch. You can one finger it. It's beautiful. But this is a hydraulic version, which we're going to put in the bike, and then we're going to also put in a Drag Specialties, just general rebuild for the Master. It was all just seized up and locked and needed rebuilt. But then when I went to put this back together, we discovered that the pressure plate is smoked. The bearings are smoked. This is smoked. That's smoked. I also didn't take this bike apart. It was disassembled at another shop and then brought here. So when I was just kind of digging through the parts, we found all this stuff, which I know why they took it apart now, because look at that. It pushed the aluminum out of the pressure plate, which this thing had gold springs in it. It had very, very, very heavy clutch springs in it, which it has a 120R, but really, let's be realistic. The 120R does not really make that much power. It makes power, but it doesn't need to be that heavy of a clutch, which the clutch was really, really hard to pull. So when you're pulling that heavy of a clutch on an aluminum pressure plate over and over and over again, it really just beat itself to death. This is the little lockup plate. These weights fly out at RPM and give you more clutch pressure. They were all pulled out. Every single bit of this was blown to hell. All the screws, all the aluminum's pulled out onto the screws. It basically had just destroyed itself because it had too heavy of a clutch spring in it. You do not need that heavy of a clutch spring unless you're doing some crazy drag race setup and you've got some crazy motor. This thing's probably making 120 horsepower-ish, I would guess. You could really just run a 30 over spring with a decent set of clutch plates in it and it would be fine. But this has a full Barnett kit, which we do not want. This is June's husband's bike, by the way, Jason, so we're not really trying to throw $1,000 at a clutch setup in it when it just needs a pressure plate. But you can't just buy this pressure plate because this is a full Scorpion setup, so we had to get a hold of Barnett. Trent sourced out a bunch of stuff from them, and we are getting just the pressure plate for almost $400, mind you, for just the pressure plate, which I think is insane. But it's on the way, so now I don't really know what I'm gonna do moving forward. I don't wanna put the slave cylinder in until I have all the clutch in and I can really test things openly and look at them. So we're gonna pull the Master apart, we're gonna rebuild the Master up there, and I'll give you guys a little demonstration on how to rebuild a Master cylinder. And then we're gonna do some other stuff today. I got another bike to work on, and then I got a car to work on. I got a bunch of stuff to do today. It's KRUESI Originals. It's a nice spot for a commercial right now.
We interrupt my lunch break here to bring you KRUESI Originals floorboards. They are made out of some fancy aluminum, way above my pay grade aluminum. They're powder coated black. They also come in raw. They fit M8 Softails and twin cam Softails and Dynas and Sportsters.
And you can use them for passenger pegs. Trent is putting together, so if any of you guys saw the contest that we've been running where you guys send us t-shirt designs of what you would like us to put out for t-shirts, and then we've picked some winners, which we've got 3 so far? Yes. 3 so far, and then we're sending them money, and then it gets named after them, and then they get a bunch of free shit when it all comes in. But we've got some really sick t-shirt designs. So we're gonna have like some limited drop t-shirts, hoodies, and we're gonna do some Dickie shop jackets. The Dickie jackets are very expensive to produce, so those are gonna be like a pre-order. You pay for them, then we make them, you get them out. It's like a 10-day turnaround. Our t-shirt guy's pretty fast. We have a really good company to work with now. But we've got a bunch of rad stuff coming out, 3 new designs so far. It should be dropping maybe by the time this video's out or shortly after. But Trent is getting all that stuff situated right now. I'll get that over to you here in a bit.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, thanks.
We're getting some prototypes so we can kind of have stuff to wear that you guys can see what it looks like and all that jive. But it is, I'm really excited. Like, some people killed it. Some people sent us some shit. And some people sent us some stuff that was pretty good. There's a whole lot of pretty good, but then there was like 3 of them that were like, damn, dude. Like it was like these people jumped through the old phone screen and read my mind of exactly what I wanted. Like the first one, is it LRK? What's Designs? What was his name?
Yeah, LRK Design.
That dude knocked it out of the park. It was exactly like what I've been visioning, what I've wanted for a long time, because I want to do shirts for each one of the bikes that we build. And he did one for my bike, the Silver Fox, and it's super, super sick. Eagles and motorcycles in America. Anyway, back to this shit. So there's a rubber boot in here that you got to pull out. Little pick, pull the rubber boot out. The thing about this guy, as soon as I popped the rubber boot, everything came out. It's not supposed to do that. So here it is. Here's all the guts to the master cylinder, which is crazy because there should be a C-clip in here holding all this together, and there is not, which I could be totally wrong. I normally take these hydraulic setups on these bikes and I throw them in the trash because I hate hydraulic clutches on motorcycles. They don't respond well, they don't feel good, there's no feedback, there's no they're not good at all. But this is what Harley had for a while, so if we can make this as good as it can get, then we'll make it as good as it can be. If you want to argue about hydraulic clutches are awesome, I don't know what your argument would be to be making them awesome, because they're not. They're not at all. The only good thing about them is you could run the hydraulic line through the handlebars and you could have everything through the handlebars and these would be naked. I like that. I used to do that a lot back in the day in the big wheel bagger days when we would hide everything. But now we don't do that, so there's no need. Cable's where it's at. If you can convert to cable, do it. If not, that's a very expensive endeavor, so really just rebuild this shit and run it. If you're stunt riding, this is useless. You have to convert. But if you're just riding a motorcycle, cruising, everyday riding, shit like that, hydraulic's not too bad. They made the hydraulic so it was easier for limp-wristed gentlemen to squeeze it better, or, maybe like exercise. Exercise. Everybody should exercise. If you're not exercising, you're just on your fast path to a shitty death. It's real talk. I'm gonna open up that box and take a look at that because the stuff that we have over there doesn't seem to look like the stuff that I have in my hand, to be honest. I have not, so also, real talk aside, I know this is a how-to video, but I have not rebuilt a hydraulic master cylinder for a clutch probably since, I'd say 2013. This isn't right. 0617 0402. It might be like a Drag Specialties hydraulic clutch. It ain't for no Harley Davidson. So, on that note, this video's over. I really just, man, this whole entire project today has just been shit on. So, we came in to film today, and we were gonna do a whole how-to this whole thing down here, which that went to shit because the clutch thing on the other side and the pressure plate. And now I'm opening this up, and it's, I'm going to move on to the second phase of today. And that is, I think we have an 05 Superglide sitting over here. It's in really, really nice shape. We bought it about a year ago to build something out of it and have not had an ounce of time to do that. So I'm going to take that 05 Superglide and throw a whole bunch of KRUESI Originals parts on it and a whole bunch of takeoff parts, and I'm going to try and build the most inexpensive but cool as possible Superglide. And then we're going to sell it. This thing will be for sale, so if anybody wants a nice entry-level, fuel-injected, fairly low miles Superglide that's very, very clean. I think it has one little ding in the gas tank, but that is about it. With a whole bunch of KRUESI Originals bits and pieces and all that jive on it. It will be for sale when it's done. But today I'm going to knock out as much as that as I possibly can. Do we have a set of handlebars laying around here by chance? We do. Handlebars, risers, everything. So I'm going to load it up. It will not have suspension because I'm not gonna throw a bunch of money in it and make it really expensive. So it's gonna be affordable. It's like Folgers. It's not my first choice, but it's affordable. Trent's trying to find a master cylinder kit in there right now, a rebuild kit. But I have a challenge for myself. I want to see how fast I can tear this thing apart today and make it at least start to look like something cool. Because I used to be real fast. I mean, not that I'm probably still am fast, but I don't really, it's all like custom slower work these days for the most part, but when it comes to straight up mechanicking, I can rock and roll. So I'm gonna rock and roll. I'm gonna give myself a little challenge. See how quick I can tear this thing apart and make it look much different than it does. Because right now, she's lame. She's pretty lame. I'd say she came out of Tennessee or something like that, where the style's still a little off. One of them Midwestern states where it's still about long shots and ape hangers. First thing I'm gonna do is handlebars. I'm gonna rip all this off. I'm gonna get after it. I got everything to do mid controls. I think I have everything in stock to do mid controls. I don't have exhaust, but I am going to take this exhaust off. This is the same exhaust I had in my very first Harley back in the day, but I took the baffles out because I was hardcore, brother. And I also rode that with that vest on up there. Just don't tell anybody. Master cylinder's still coming today. So my truck and Trent's new Duramax, not brand new, but very new to him and very, very clean, is getting detailed right now out back by Devil's Detailing, I think, something like that. The devil's in the details. Wow, that makes sense to me. I was wondering, like, why'd you call it Devil's Detailing? But maybe that could be it. I totally could be full of shit and the name could be something completely different. It could be like Roy's Car Cleaning and shit, but they're doing the cars out there. Then he's gonna go down to the dealership, get a rebuild. Well, shit, they're walking in right now. That might be done. I'm gonna have a real task of them. Hey, what's the name of your spot? Is it Devil's Detailing? Is it like the devil's in the details? Exactly, yeah, it all came to me. Are you guys already done? Yeah, we just finished. Oh, beautiful. Hey, man, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hell yeah. Nice to meet you. You guys have a good one. I'm going to blow these off right now, and I probably can get a good ways on it. Oh, half my tools are next door. That's kind of a bitch. You ready for this action, June?
You really got your hustle on.
Oh, man. I used to rock. This is where I'm at so far. I've got handlebars mocked up on it, and I took some steel wool. Steel wool and Scotch-Brite does wonderful things to chrome. All the chrome on this was kind of like tarnishy and shit. If you just spray a bunch of Windex or any kind of glass cleaner in steel wool and rub it on chrome, it'll get rid of rust, blemishes, stains, all that, and makes it beautiful. So I did all that. I hit the top tree with some polish, just to polish all the main visible points. And then when this is covered up, I still got to do all this in the bottom half of it, but I'm going to get to that after I get the top done. Right now, I'm going to call my boy Cash. He does vapor blasting. I want to pull the wheels off and have them vapor blasted and all this stuff vapor blasted. See if I have Cash's number still. I haven't talked to Cash in a minute.
I'm sorry, the person you were trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Please try your call again later. Goodbye.
Trent!
I just hit him up on Instagram. When he gets back to me, I'll...
All right. I mean, side note, back to that. I got to pull this rear wheel out anyways, which I really don't have to pull the rear wheel out. I want to pull the wiring out, and the wiring comes all the way in the back of the neck, and it goes, you have to stick your hand through a little hole behind the fender right here, which my hands aren't fitting in there. So normally I just disconnect the shocks, jack it way up in the air, but I want to get, see how this wheel's all like tarnished and all that? When we have Cash vapor blast this, it will look like a brand new wheel. It is some pretty miraculous stuff. It'll look really, really nice. So I want to have him do that. So I'm going to pull the wheel out anyways and just kind of set it aside, and hopefully we get a hold of Cash pretty soon and we get that vapor blasted, because I want the wheels to look flossy. And then I'm going to pull all of the wiring harness out of the neck up to the front so I can start doing the wiring on the handlebars, because the wiring looks pretty shoddy on it so far. I'm probably going to have to redo that very quickly. But it is looking really nice. Look at that handlebar setup up there. I'm pretty excited about that. Got the tack up there, a little chrome. Black risers, not ideal, but it is what we had in stock laying around. So I'm putting on this bike what we have. Those handlebars are the ones that came off of my bike when I switched over to ODIs. They're chrome Speed Kings. They will be real nice. This exhaust is super stellar, brother. That'll come off someday. We'll probably put a stealth on this as soon as possible, which I've got a ton of mufflers but no head pipes, so we'll figure that out. I have to call Steve. I guess I'm just gonna start pulling the rear end apart and hope to hear from Cash pretty soon, and we'll keep going from there. Cashew! How disassembled do you need these wheels to vapor blast them?
The best way to do it was with everything out of them, so I don't have to worry about getting anything in the bearings.
So you need me to pull the bearing, like strip them down all the way?
That's what I do. It's easier to make sure that there's nothing inside of them, you know?
Yeah.
Vapor blasting bullshit out of it.
True that. We got bearings here, Trent? I need three quarter and 1 inch.
3/4 and
I'm probably gonna give you one wheel at a time too, just for ease of the bike being stuck on a lift. Can you do that?
1 inch.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Hell yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna pull this back one out and disassemble it right now, and I'll try and get it over to you today or something.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, word up. I'll holler at you in a bit.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll need to get
All right, so there we go. I'm gonna pull the wheel out, completely disassemble it. I was really hoping that he could just like, I don't really know what vapor blasting is, and I've never seen it done, so I was hoping he could just, like, it was like a fancy pressure washer and he could just do it, you know, and I wouldn't even have to take the tire off, but I gotta pull it completely apart, pull the bearings out, disassemble it, and, you know, is what it is. That way I can fancy up the rotor and make that look pretty. I'll Scotch Brite that thing. I'll probably have him do the pulley as well, so she looks fancy. This is gonna be a nice bike. If anybody's looking for a bike, it's gonna be for sale. I'd start hollering right now, actually, because you kind of want to be the first in line. Last one we did like this, it sold before the video launched. Homeboy walked in here and went, damn, that's pretty sick. How much do you want for it? I was like, $11.5. He goes, cool, I'll take it. I'm like, you want to ride it? He goes, nah, I'll just take it, load it in my truck. I went, okay. Then he sold it for $12.5. I was like, well, that works for me. It was worth more than that. It was a beautiful bike. All right, wheels out. I'm gonna, oh my God. Should I just pull this shit off now and bite the bullet, or leave it? Love working on the old do-it-yourself, the old DIY jobs. Or this is like some shit left over from your old lady's IKEA. Some sort of safety bullshit, I'm sure, but or maybe it's just a look. Don't know, never really looked into it enough or cared enough. Safety's never been my first concern. Safety third, brother.